At the start of the I'm Legend movie we see an interview of a doctor aired on TV. This lady doctor declared publicly that we had discovered a cure for cancer. When the interviewer inquires, "How many patients have you treated up to this point?" The doctor, Ellis, then reacts, "About 10 million units. And they're all able to restore," signifying that their treatment was totally successful. The interview is finished and the story is shown after 3 years. Here we see an American city named Manhattan. That was completely deserted. Many of the cars were parked there but nobody was present there. Buildings were emptied there and no human was seen. At the same time we see a red-colored Touring which was coming in real speed. Robert Neville, who is the main hero of the movie, was there in car along with his dog. We see that they were hunting deer and while driving speedily. Deer was running speedily and they were following him. After a lot of struggle when they were about to hunt the deer, a lioness appears. And she snatches the deer and hunts it. Robert could have killed the lioness and hunted the deer if he had wanted to. But he ignores it as evening prevails and his arm watch alarms. The purpose of alarm was that he had to reach home and ignore everything. And should reach the home definitely. Robert had to reach home because as no humans were present in the city, but many of the mutants were present in the city. In this film mutants were named as Dark Seekers. These Dark Seekers only appear at night as they can't bear light at the day. That's why Robert alarm rings and he goes back to me. He has reached back home where he and his dog take meal together. And they seal the home completely. All the doors were locked. And all the lights were kept off so that Dark Seekers may not know the presence of anybody. Robert loves his dog very much. They were sleeping in the same bathing tub. And many Dark Seekers were talking outside. Now the movie goes to flashback. In the flashback of the story we see Robert with his family. And he takes her daughter and wife to the airport. Robert instructs her wife to plan a meal for at least 2 weeks in advance. And take out money from the ATM and keep it with yourself. He also tells his wife that Army would seal this area in an hour. His wife gets much worried and asks whether this virus is spreading through air. Robert had known nothing about. But he replies yes, maybe it's true. And they reach to airport and see many people were present over there. Because everyone had to save their life by moving towards a safe place outside the city. But airport security allows only those people who are not affected. So that this disease may not spread to other cities. Here we see that security people were using a unique kind of machinery, which can determine whether or not this person is infected. Robert's child gets cleared from the machine but his wife was badly infected. So the security stops Robert's wife from going from there. Now as Robert was a senior officer he asks for his wife to let her go. And orders to check his wife again. The machine clears her wife for the second time, which means the machine tells that she has no virus. Now she can travel to another city. As Robert was a senior officer so a helicopter was arranged for his family. When the helicopter flies, another helicopter from the opposite side was attacked by the Dark Seekers. And the other helicopter strikes the helicopter of Robert's family after being unbalanced. And both the helicopters crash at the moment. All passengers inside the helicopters die. In which his wife and son were included. Now we see Robert was present in the lab, making medicine for infected people. He was running different experiments. This lab also had many infected rats inside. So that to check and test the medicine Robert was making, whether it works or not. During the experiment, he also analyzes whether the rats given treatment previously are cured or not. But during the experiment, it was concluded that rats were not healing, in fact very aggressive. And the medicine was not working on them. During this problem we'll seize rat. It was sitting calmly and never aggressive as other rats. Robert considers his medicine to be working on that rat. Because it didn't show any reaction. He decides that this is the right time to run the experiment on humans. So that people could be saved from the infection. Those who have changed to Dark Seekers may be brought back to humans. The story is returned to its original. Where he is alone in Manhattan. One thing he does regularly is that he goes outside and sends signals from FM radio. That if any human is listening to him and wants help, then I'm present. I can provide meals and shelter. He hopes that someone would listen to him and contact him. He believes that I'm not alone here. Someone else could be present here. Who could listen to me and I would meet him, or he should. He also announces his availability on a bridge at 12 p.m. And I will meet you there every day. Now Robert sees another deer for hunting. He and his dog approach near a room while following the dog. There was much dark in there. Robert doesn't want to go there, but his dog enters the darkened room. As Robert likes his dog very much. So he enters the darkened room for his dog. His gun had a light that was helping him find his dog. Here he finds his dog and asks him to go along with him to home. But his dog was too much scared and Robert hears some voices from the room. When he looks around, he sees Dark Seeker, means those mutants. Before he attacks him, Robert sieves him with bullets. He takes his dog and tries to run while other Darkseekers listen to him and follow him. Robert is running to save his life that a Darkseeker appears. That he breaks out the window and jumps to be saved from his attack. Now as the window breaks, the Darkseeker dies of light who was following him. As we have told before, the Darkseekers can't face light, so they don't appear in the light, because they die as the light appears. Good news for Robert was that he knew Darkseekers were present there. He thinks of capturing one Darkseeker, which would help him testing against them, so that he may develop medicine as early as possible and could heal them. Now Robert makes a trap so as to capture the Darkseekers. He asks his dog to remain in the car as he could be infected. Here Robert doesn't talk about himself, as he was taking doses on daily basis, so that he could be saved from infection. After a while he comes to know that a Darkseeker was trapped in a trap. Now the Darkseeker was under control of Robert. But we see that a mutant appears from that darkened room window. He shouts out loudly like he wanted to take revenge on him. Now Robert takes that mutant to his lab and runs the same medicine on her, which he used for that rat, the same rat he thought was healing. He sees that the Darkseeker's breathing was getting low. Her heart rate starts to decrease and he thinks as if she is healing. That mutant wakes up then. She starts shouting and becomes unconscious. Robert becomes hopeless that treatment didn't work completely. Here Robert makes a video recording and says, the medicine I have developed can work for me but cannot work for those who are already affected. And I'm trying again and again so as to recover those Darkseekers. He also adds that when I was capturing the Darkseeker, one of them was staring at me. While staring he came into light which couldn't affect him. It may be happening because they are starving and changing their lifestyle. Slowly they are making themselves habitual of sunlight. He was recording all this in a video conference while living in an American city. About 1,000 days have been passed. One day he was out with his dog that his feet get stuck in a trap. He becomes upside down in the air. This trap was made by the Darkseekers, because Darkseeker have ability to think and understand. Now Robert was hanging in air and becomes unconscious there. This trap was made in the same way like Robert made the other day. Now the Darkseekers have copied the same and trapped Robert. After sometimes his alarm rings, which means evening is about to prevail. And his dog barks again and again so that he could free himself and can go home. Because this time belongs to the Darkseekers and they will not spare him if they reach. He wakes up and takes out the knife from his pocket and cuts the rope. However, as he descends, the rope penetrates his feet. Robert approaches his car with the dog and the same Darkseeker appears, which appeared in light. That Darkseeker also had 2 infected dogs. He orders his dogs to attack them both. Though Robert kills both the dogs, but one dog bites his dog. He takes his dog back home and runs different experiments that don't work on him. He cries a lot and kills his dog by moving his neck. Because now his dog had died and he was alone, as there was no other in the city. This was the saddest part of the story. Robert is sad now. So he doesn't come out at the daytime, rather he goes out at night time, so that he may kill all the Darkseekers and crush them. He was going in his speedy car and crashes all the Darkseeker which appear and proceed further. He sticks at one point. His car stops and he experiences an accident. Now Robert is injured and the same Darkseeker which came out in light appears, so as to kill him. Basically, this Darkseeker is the boss of every Darkseeker. Before he caused any damage to Robert, an intense light appears and all the Darkseekers run away and hide in the darkness. As he had an accident, so he was unconscious. He hears the voice. Where do you live? He tells his address unconsciously. When he wakes up he finds his TV was on and a woman was there along with her son. He gets surprised first, then becomes happy. She tells, "We heard your message on FM. We have come here after knowing your location." She says that we kept waiting on the bridge you told us but you didn't come today. And we saw you were captured between mutants, so we came to save you. She also tells Robert that all of our companions were killed by the Darkseekers. And now we both want to go at the place where there must be more humans. That would be the safe location with no virus and security would be good. Robert says you must come out of your misunderstandings. There is no such place. She says such a place does exist. Now Robert was locking the house as he does. Anna and her son were also present there. He hears of Darkseekers as he was locking the home. They were near his house. He becomes suspicious and asks, "When did you bring me?" She told him it was dawn. Robert tells her that they must have seen me while you were bringing me. And now they will kill us. They have found us. Robert was ready for this. And he had put different mines outside his home so blast could happen as someone enter, so that nobody could enter the home. In that moment many seekers start to die as they put their step in. But they were huge in numbers and they enter his home shortly. Robert shoots them with his gun. They believe they have exterminated all mutants and that there is no one left. They come to the same Darkseeker which was present in the lab who was much recovered. And all the infection was gone. They thought that their treatment is working. And then many Darkseekers appear in his lab. His lab was very big. And a bulletproof mirror was present over there. Robert closes that window which was strong enough to stop any type of bullet. Which means Darkseekers could not enter the place where Robert was present. All the Darkseekers try to break that window but they were unsuccessful. He tells them that look at your partner who is getting well. I can treat you as well. The boss of the Darkseekers who is much angry bumps his head to window. And we see different cracks start to appear and it start breaking slowly. Before the window is shattered, Robert gathers a blood sample from the device on which he was functioning. He takes a blood sample because he chooses to believe he has found the cure. He asks women to sit in a safe chamber and hands over the sample to her. And says, when you get there, give them that sample because it was the cure. She asks Robert to come inside but he says no as they were unstoppable. I will have to finish them. He opened a battle. He picks up a hand grenade and opens it up by going in between them while running. Here a big blast happens after which Robert and all Darkseekers die. This was a sad moment for all of us. Then we see Anna reaches the place where she wanted to be. The same place where leftover humans were present. And there was high security so that no Darkseeker could come there. She gets the security here and hands over the blood sample to the security there. This was the same cure which Robert gave to Anna. And Robert gave his life to save humanity as a whole. And that's why this movie was named I Am Legend.